Hello, welcome to a special episode of Heroes for Sale. We're live at 92 Degrees Coffee Shop where we're going to be in conversation with Shaune Harrison, the guy who did the makeup on Star Wars, Harry Potter, the Avengers, just to name a few. Oh, Hellraiser as well, that's a good one. So we're going to go inside now and check him out, and also the zombie goings on before we take over Home Street.
We're in this zombie mob to go around in time to go scare loads of people and to have fun.
I'm here today to take part in a zombie flash mob. It's basically going to be a load of zombies on the streets of Liverpool trying to terrify everyone and scare everyone.
The makeup process was quite nice actually. It was quite relaxing. It was quite fun to have it done.
I was actually really looking forward to getting my makeup done. That's something that I think is always really fun and get to do. So actually doing this, but also like getting people's reactions. It's like just walking down the street and someone else like completely normal walking around the corner and you're dressed as a zombie, and it's just their reactions that you can like get from them. I think that's the best.
Like it's sort of like getting your hair cut. I don't know, it was just gentle. I don't know if that was the makeup artist or whether it's just natural. I don't get this very often. But I've had stage makeup in the past, but this is great. It's a bit tight. Like I feel like I'm a bit restricted whether I can smile or frown, but it seems fine. Great.
It was really interesting because I've never done it before, so it was really cool to like watch everyone else get their makeup done and then have mine done as well.
Well, as you know, we've got the man of the moment on the couch, who is Shaune Harrison, who I don't know whether many people know, but you hail from these parts, don't you? From Wirral?
Yeah, well, I grew up on the Wirral, moved to London, which I had to for work, from Horse and Light. So, stayed till I was 20, and then moved down south. Then back up again now.
And everybody has to move down south, they feel, don't they, to enter the big world of movies. But do you think that's something that's diminished now?
Yeah, I mean now, obviously when I started going back to 1988, the industry was in London. Now it's kind of all over. Well, it's all over the world. It's all over the country as well. You know, I work out in Belfast on Game of Thrones and Dracula Untold, and we were never, the production never ever once came to our workshop in London. They just let us do, so you can literally be anywhere you want now in the UK. And I think, the Northwest has kind of got to get into all that as well, because Belfast has just kind of taken up the market and just, it's doing really well.
Well, they are weird over there. I can say that having Northern Irish family, so I'm okay with that. But we need to bring that up north. And you are based with your academy out at Salford Quays Media City, aren't you? Just tell us a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, well, I kind of, about 18 months ago, I kind of moved back up to the Northwest, and we looked at Liverpool at one point for a workshop for a school, and there is actually one here already, a makeup school, so we thought, okay, where's the next other city, which is Manchester, so we moved there, and we're right next to Media City, which is, it's a great location, and we kind of train people, and we have people come from all over the world just to come to our school, which is kind of a bit daunting because we've had people from Korea, from Brazil, from Romania, we get people from America purely coming over to be taught in Manchester, but by me. So it's that's been now up and running for a year and a half now.
Yeah, that's quite amazing, really, when you think about it. Well, I think we need to tell people about your pedigree a little bit more. I mean, you're the man who did the prosthetics on Harry Potter films 1 to 8, Star Wars 1 and 2, the Avengers, to name just but a few. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about what are your favourite pieces that you've done?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because Sleepy Hollow is my most favourite film I've worked on, and that was down to who we were working with, Johnny Depp and Tim Burton, and it was also the time when Johnny Depp wasn't that big, so he could do a bit more things off left field, and it was kind of that movie was just a bloody amazing thing to work on, because it was all the sets were just beautiful, and every single set you walked onto, they had a forced perspective end to it. So you'd walk onto a set, you'd walk, say, into the farmyard area, and as you walk up to the end of the set, suddenly the trees get smaller, and everything was shot in such a way, and the cameraman, who's like a 3-time Oscar winner, a guy called Emmanuel Lubezki, he did Gravity and so many, so he just wins Oscars every time, and he used to spend literally half a day lighting the shots. So we went over by about 4 months on that movie.
Yeah. Well, it had a particular vision. Obviously, Tim Burton doesn't mess around when it comes to the weird and the creepy.
Yeah.
But I do remember reading somewhere that Johnny Depp struck you with his knowledge of prosthetics. Did he like to point around in things and really get to grips with it?
Yeah, well, obviously Johnny's worn stuff, Edward Scissorhands. So when we originally met him and we had to do a head cast of him and body cast of him, which again, there's a story about that. When we did, because every single
Sorry, you had to touch Johnny Depp's body in depth.
Yeah.
You had to get to grips with Johnny.
Yeah.
That must have been a perfect
Well, it wasn't so much for me. We had 2 female assistants who were kind of starstruck with Johnny, and we had to do a full chest cast, because one scene he gets stabbed in the chest. So what we have to do, we just cast the whole areas, and then they can pick where they want to have the wound. So Johnny, we literally were about to Vaseline his chest up, and I said to the girls, who wants to do Johnny's chest? And the girls they couldn't do it. They literally said, I can't do this, they're too scared of him. And Johnny actually said, go on, this will never happen ever in your life again. And he handed the pot, and he still didn't do it. And obviously they regretted it afterwards. But every single actor went through the process of having their head cast for it. I think we had 18 heads in that film.
Brilliant. And from one heartthrob to another person you've worked with is Brad Pitt on World War Z, and obviously Zombie. We've got a special zombie occasion going on tonight. Please take us through the process of the zombies and creating the zombies for World War Z.
I mean, I worked for a guy called Mark Coulier, and it was interesting, when we first started on film, we weren't doing the kind of end sequence of the movie, because we basically shot the movie, and then a year later we went back and reshot about 45 minutes of it. So the last 45 minutes of the movie we reshot, because the original ending didn't really work. And we were out in Budapest for 6 weeks shooting. We had 60 zombies, which sounds a lot, but they were 3 or 4 hour makeups each one. Each one had silicone multi-pieces costumes. And we had 2 makeup artists per makeup. So we had 120, 140 makeup artists every day for 6 weeks. We shot 6 weeks of night shooting in Budapest. That entire sequence was cut out of the movie. It was the biggest set I've ever been on in my life. They had about 1,000 extras, they had tanks, they had everything going on. But the thing was, when we were on the film at the beginning, it was kind of, they were doing kind of stages 1, 2, 3. If you watch the movie, you don't really see much of the final stuff until when you get into the Who building. And it was actually, I think there was a little bit of talk from Brad Pitt wanting more practical makeups, because it was kind of 90% digital zombies.
There was a lot of CGI in that movie, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember that about that. But where do you stand? It makes me feel better about what we've got going on tonight, because I think we've got about 50 zombies. So if World War Z only at 60, then I think we're doing all right for what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
But CGI is something that is a sticky subject for horror films. Obviously, it's a mixed medium, isn't it? So where do you stand on all that?
To be honest, I think whatever works for the movie. I come from a prosthetics background. At the same time, there's no way you can do 10,000 zombies in a shot. We can't literally do that. I mean, 60 zombies was the most we could do, and that's not paint and makeup. That's doing 10 silicone pieces. There's teeth, there's lenses, there's costumes, there's hand pieces, their wigs. So to get each person to the door was a military operation. We had a big warehouse that we used as a workshop. And trying to get 60 people through, and all through from different parts of the country as well. We had Hungarians, we had English, we had American people, so the language was an issue. And you know what? To be honest, I love both sides. You watch Jurassic World, and you look at that, and you just go, there's no way you can do that practically anymore. People don't take it. You watch Jurassic Park, and dinosaurs were amazing in that, but they've upped it so much now, you couldn't get away with what you would do nowadays. But at the same time, it's nice. It depends on the director, to be honest. You work with a certain director, like I worked on The Mummy with Stephen Sommers, the director of The Mummy, hates anything that we do, hates practical stuff. He'll do all digital, and the cost will be probably 20 times more expensive though.
Yeah. No, it's a sticking point. I know Bruce Campbell from Evil Dead.
Yeah.
He's obviously had to come to terms with the idea of CGI now.
Yeah.
For me though, because you work in a horror movie, you make monsters, I find it's more psychologically disturbing to have the real deal of limbs and something that feels tactile.
Yeah, I mean, I think you should always have stuff on set for actors to work with. It does depend on time, budgets. If you watch The Walking Dead, all the killings are digital, and I totally understand that. There's no way you can do beheadings and stabbings and all that stuff and redo it and retake it, because for us it's very hard when you're on a film set. You've got to do certain gags that have to hit the timing, and if you're doing blood pumps and that goes wrong, the setup time again is can take an hour.
Okay, so picking up there, let's wind the tape all the way back to your young days then. Like hailing from Port Sunlight, how do you get into this kind of thing? Because I know there's a lot of people who are here interested in making movies and zombies and makeup. How do you get into being professionally weird?
I mean, I was always a kid who was interested in dinosaurs and kind of Sinbad movies. So first of all I was into, when I was about 10, 11, I was into kind of Ray Harryhausen and Jason the Argonauts. And then this is like from 1981 when I was 13, and I saw Film 81 clip of American Werewolf in London, and that just completely blew me away. I had no idea how it was done when I saw the hands stretching, but I kind of thought, I want to make that. And obviously there's no internet back then, and I used to buy a magazine called Starburst magazine, and then I found there was another magazine that came out called Fangoria, which is an American one, so I used to go to newsagents and just ask them to import it from America for me. And it was like, I had to wait 2 months, and then it just became that obsession of wanting to copy. There's also, I think the early 80s was kind of the, call this boom time, where it was like kind of when special makeup effects came out. So I was kind of following people like Rick Baker and Rob Bottin, and Rob Bottin had just done the Howlin', and he was 21, he did the Howlin', which is amazing. He was 22 and he did the Thing, which is insane. And I just became obsessed with just trying to copy those guys' work. So for 6 years, I'd say from 13 to 19, I just stayed in my bedroom. I spoke to my school teachers and stuff, my careers teachers asked me what I wanted to do, and I said I want to make monsters. And they basically just laughed at me and just said, I've become a draftsman. That's one way of kind of getting into the industry, because you draw. And they used to kind of put me down a lot and kind of say, oh, you're never going to do it, you're never going to make it and stuff. And they said, people only in Hollywood do this, people make stuff on the Wirral. So I was like, okay, I like the idea that you're telling me I can't do it. The more negativity, it spurs me on. So I didn't take a job, I went on the dole. Well, actually no, I became a hotel porter when I was 16, and then quit after about 3 months.
Was that in Birkenhead?
No, I was in Chester.
Oh, Chester.
And I didn't earn any money from it. All my money went on the travel to get to Chester and back. And then people trying to get, you should go and get a job at Vauxhall Motors, or you should go and get to Camelot. That's what you have to do, that's a real job. So I just kind of just said, no, I want to make monsters. I don't know how to do it, I have no idea how to get into it. So in a way, the naivety spurred me on a little bit. And then I found a magazine, one Starburst magazine, of a film called Company of Wolves, which was Chris Tucker had done the effects, and he had done the original Star Wars film, and he'd done Dune, and he was the Elephant Man. So I just wrote to Shepperton Studios. I didn't realise, when the magazine article came out, that obviously the film had been finished and the article had been done up the year before. So I just wrote to Chris Tucker Shepperton Studios in London, England, sent 100 of my photos of really bad stuff, because I was making gremlins and stuff when I was like 15 or 16. I mean, really amateur stuff, but you could see what I was trying to do, and I was using just window putty. I was using wet clay, but when I was trying to make skin, I used window putty. My dad used to work in a window shop.
Right.
So we just, I sent him a load of stuff. It took 3 months to get to Chris, and then Chris said to me, come and see me in Reading. So I was terrified. I'm 16 years old, and I went to Reading, and he had this mansion house, and he had an Oscar and BAFTAs and Emmys and stuff, and I just thought, there's no way I can do this. This is just freaking me out. I was so scared of meeting anybody. I was kind of a recluse, because I used to work all the time in the bedroom making monsters. So, and I didn't kind of do things that teenagers did. I never went out drinking and stuff. I just used to focused on that. So I kind of blew all my teenage life, to be honest. And then Chris was good, you know, he was quite hard. He was like, your work's terrible, but I can see what you're trying to achieve. Just use this, use that. And for 3 years, we just kind of I sent work back to him and stuff. And then I found a magazine article on Hellraiser and Bob Keane. And I thought, oh, they do really cool monsters, because I didn't really want to work for Chris Tucker, because Chris does really kind of beautiful old age stuff. And I was a gore fan, I was massively into gore makeup. So when I sent work to Pioneer Studios and Bob Keane, the company called Image Animation, they don't exist anymore. I sent them the work, and they said, oh, you know, call back in 6 months. And then I called them up on the phone, and they said, I'll call back in 6 months. And then they said, oh, we've got this film called Nightbreed. Clive Box, Nightbreed. He said, we may be looking for a couple of trainees. We'll call you to tell you right. And then
I wanted to come on to Nightbreed. Obviously, Nightbreed's a particular Liverpool-based horror film. Clive Barker, another hometown hero. Yeah. So you must have been excited when you got that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I read the book about, and we went. And Clive's amazing, because Clive loved the effects industry. I mean, he loved Bob Keane and stuff. And I still think Nightbreed's the biggest ever monster film ever made in the UK in terms of the amount of monsters. We made around over 200 individual monsters as well. And we were all really young kids, so the average age was 23 on that film. Most of us, a lot of them had only been there for like 6 months. I mean, I was literally starting from ground level. I was cleaning up, sweeping, and then in the evenings, we all used to stay behind, just sculpt day and night, and 7 days a week. We had no life, we just used to sculpt. It was basically a bunch of, there was 50 of us, there was 48 boys and 2 girls. One was a German lesbian.
Helpful. Maybe not a qualification you need these days.
No, and whereas now it's mostly girls trying to get into it, but then it was 99% boys make monsters.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about where this happened? Where did you film? Because obviously we're going back a while now to Liverpool. There wasn't any sniff of a studio back then, was there really?
No, it was all shot in London. It was all shot. We shot it at Pinewood. We shot it kind of around the outskirts of Pinewood. And then they went off to shoot some stuff in Toronto. And then there was this whole issue that, you know, Clive had a really rough time on that film. I think he didn't really enjoy it. And then they went back about 6 months later and shot some stuff in LA. He kind of made it a gore movie, and Clive's like, this is not a gore film. You know, the thing with Clive used to love coming into Image Animation, and he would sit on the floor and just get a piece of paper and start sketching creatures. He goes, give me 5 of those, 6 of those. And it was amazing. He absolutely loved the way we worked. And, you know, Clive would just come and just hang out in our workshop just because he loved working with effects people.
Yeah. So did you make the monsters in Liverpool?
No, we had to actually move to London for that. So all of that film shot in around London, let's say a little bit in Toronto and America and stuff.
Great. I think I have to get to some of the juicy stuff, because obviously people know you for your best known work on the movies. And you were telling me a little bit earlier that you actually turned down working on a new Star Wars movie because you were signed up to the Avengers. That must have been a tough call.
Yeah, well, at the time, because I was actually, when Force Awakens, I keep saying Phantom Menace. I did sculpt part of Jar Jar, unfortunately.
We'll have to edit that out.
Yeah. But I was working on Game of Thrones Series 4 at the time, and so this is going back 2 years when they just started on Force Awakens, and it was a very, very small crew at that point. They didn't really know what they wanted, and there was a lot of kind of debate as to whether it was going to be shot in the UK or America. And then it kind of quieted down, and then that was September. Then December, I jumped onto Avengers: Age of Ultron, and it was like I didn't realise I was going to get a job just before Christmas, because usually work just dies down anyway. And then I jumped onto that, and then I got a call from a friend saying, they're looking to start up on the crew on Force Awakens. Are you busy? I said, I've just started on Avengers. And I said, I can't jump ship, because you can't. But in a way, I'm kind of glad in a way, because I think sometimes it does spoil it when you work on a movie. You kind of see all the background stuff, and it does take it away. So I'm actually really excited about Force Awakens.
Yeah, no, definitely. Please tell us about your academy, which only opened last May. Yeah. And this is something that people can get into. Why did you want to start it first of all?
I mean, I've been in the industry for 28 years, and I kind of thought I can do film after film after film, which is great, and I really want to do that. But also have this kind of other idea of kind of I really like teaching people, and you kind of forget that when you work like a Harry Potter, you end up teaching the trainees. So I kind of had that kind of really nice interest, and also I wanted to move back up north. That was a major decision for me. So me and my wife were like, let's if we did it, should we move back up north and do it this way? So we spoke about it for about a year beforehand, and then while I was on the Avengers, we kind of had this kind of date setting, which was May 2014. So Avengers went on through till August, so I had to leave the Avengers to kind of literally start my school up. And it's just something I've wanted to try and do, and it's more control for myself as well. Because you know, when you work on the big budget films, you kind of lose all that control, the studio control, everything you do. So if you sculpt something that you love, they go, don't like that. Like, oh, I really love, you know. So doing this, I kind of want to go back to kind of go, I want to show people how to do prosthetics without studio involvement in a way. So we opened it. It was very slow at the beginning, you know, as everything always is. It's very scary to kind of put your name up there and kind of go, right, we're opening the school. But then suddenly it started getting bigger and bigger. We've done so much kind of publicity for it, and now we have constant, you know, classes.
Right, it's nearly time to do our zombie crawl, so we just have to finish by giving Shaune a really warm round of applause for coming over from us.
Well, I have a scaring tactic. It's all about hiding and then making sure that you're walking behind people. I walk up behind them, and then when they're always looking over shoulder, I always hide away until finally they just forget about me and suddenly, there I am.
I just want to scare as many people as I can. I just want to just run at people and really scare them. I think that's the agenda of it.
Groaning like a zombie and just like pretending to be dead.
I've been planning to go up behind people to try and scare them a bit more so that they're not expecting it. So if they see us coming, it won't be as much of a surprise.
Who shot ya?